Hello, and welcome to another daily double episode of We Only Look Thin. I am Katherine Weigel, one of your hosts. I have lost over 120 pounds and kept it off for over 6 years. I am a Tiny Habits certified coach. I am a Thrive Global certified coach. So many accreditations. And with me today is...
Donald Weigel. And I was wondering, you made a reference to the daily double at the beginning. And I'm wondering if that means our love's in jeopardy.
Oh, who are you?
I'm Donald Weigel. I said that already.
Oh, but what do you do?
I co-host this show. I husband to you.
Oh, okay. Ew. I don't like husband as a verb.
You don't like husband as a verb?
No. Honey, don't.
And and I lost about 100 pounds, I don't know, 5.5 years ago, coming up on 6 years. I don't know. At what point can I say it's been 6 years? I guess after it's been 6 years.
I guess that's technically
that. Yeah, that's what you should do.
Yeah.
And I am here to talk about it.
See, when you said our love's in jeopardy, I imagined that it was actually Weird Al Yankovic saying, I lost on Jeopardy.
I was thinking the same thing. I was like, I don't know. I can't even remember who did the original song. Like, our love's in jeopardy,
Midnight
baby.
Runner.
It was definitely not them.
No.
Definitely not Dexy's Midnight
Bay
Runners.
City Rollers.
Yeah.
Anyway, you know what? If you know, listener, let us know. But this is We Only Look Thin.
I probably could look it up on the internet
it's
at some
fine.
point.
No, we don't have time for that. We've got important information to share on this episode.
We do. We do. There's no time for banter.
And just like on Jeopardy, when they say, come on down, and then the person in the audience comes down and they play Jeopardy.
Right.
Definitely. And they spin the wheel of fortune.
And then they're like, big bucks, no whammies.
No whammies.
Big bucks, no whammies.
Yeah, and they spin that giant wheel of money.
On Jeopardy.
Yeah, on The Price is Right. We have called on down listener Katie for this episode of We Only Look Thin. Survey says,
come on down.
Survey says it
You're
is time
the next
for
contestant on Press Your Luck.
Yeah.
Or Card Sharks. Ooh,
Yeah.
I really liked Card Sharks when I was a kid.
I don't. Is that the whammy one?
No, the whammies was Press Your Luck.
Oh, okay.
Big bucks, no whammies.
So what was?
Yeah.
What was
Card Sharks was you just had to, like, you would get a card and then the contestant would have to say whether the next card was going to be higher or lower.
Oh,
Yeah.
fun stuff.
Yeah.
Fun
It was a game of
stuff.
skill.
Oh, and chance. But
Yeah.
by chance, we received an email. Actually, it wasn't an email, a Facebook response.
Yeah,
from Katie
on
with
our
a K.
Facebook page, we received a question. We asked for questions.
Yeah, it's not a surprise.
And we received it. It wasn't like she posted it out of nowhere, but listener Katie, super fan, we're going to call her super fan Katie, posted the following question. I have a bad habit I would characterize as turning a chore into a jaunt using food. An example being something like, I need to take all the pillows and duvets to the laundrette to wash them in the giant machines. That's going to be a long and boring job. Hey, I can make it fun by buying cake from the shop next door.
Helping the local economy.
Yeah, and she said laundrette, which in America, that's a laundromat.
That's a laundromat. Yeah, and maybe we should ask for jaunty jaunts for 100, Alex. Or I don't know. That's a Jeopardy thing, right?
Yeah.
That is
a Jeopardy
jaunty
thing.
jaunt or an errant errand.
Errands. That's right next to the potent potables
That's
category.
next to potent potables.
On Jeopardy,
But the question is. Oh wait, do you answer the question or you ask the question?
No,
What is?
Oh,
like,
you have to.
I don't
they
watch
give you
Jeopardy.
the answer, and you have to ask the question as a contestant of Jeopardy.
What?
Although it's like really weird. It's like
Okay, so if we're doing errant errands for 500, the answer to the question is just don't.
Oh yeah,
And
don't.
then the question is don't go to the laundrette with your duvet and get cake. And
Right.
that's just don't is what some might say, but
Is
not
what some
on
would say.
not on this podcast. We are not Alex Trebek.
Yeah, and look, you might.
What are we even talking
we're
about?
not Alex Trebek.
We're not.
I think people get confused about that all the time.
Yeah.
But you might be saying to yourself, I don't even go to the laundromat.
Yeah.
Or I don't
Or laundrette.
I don't have duvet covers.
Yeah.
Or I prefer not to wash my duvet covers because my natural oils
Gross.
make them
What
better.
does Katie's specific question have to do with me, you might say, dear listener? But I think she said in there somewhere, I can't remember, that it was like for example. So we're going to give you a couple of more for examples so that you can say, wow, these people at Walt, these two over here get me.
Catherine's making like a motion with her thumb, like pointing at both of us.
Yeah. So,
so like the classic Donald Weigel version of this, if I may, is that I would, and I did this for years and years and years, is that I would, it would be like 10 a.m., 11 a.m. I would set myself up to go do like 3 or 4 hours worth of errands. And then I would find myself miraculously somewhere around 1 p.m., lunchtime-ish, I would be starving. And I would be like, oh my goodness, I still have at least an hour's worth of errands to do. Oh, but what a wonderful coincidence. My favorite fast food place is right here. Or, there's a convenience store that has one of those egg salad sandwiches that I love so much. And I have no choice but to eat this right now, even though I know it's like many more calories than I would like. And I would, sort of intentionally, but I would pretend it was unintentionally set myself up to like have no choice, and I'm making air quotes right now, but to eat this treat. This egg salad sandwich / fast food meal that I would tell myself, oh, I'm not going to eat fast food right now, or I'm not going to have egg salad sandwich right now. And then I would set myself up to have to do it.
Yeah. Like, oh boy, it's right there. For me, it was more like the checkout line, hungry, like, oh my gosh, I'm starving at Target. And so I'll get the chips and the Coke just to tide me over because they're convenient.
That's why they put those things in the checkout line.
Yeah. So we're going to go to the SATs, which I think are a thing right now. Mm-hmm. They were a thing. They're tests of like, this is to this as that is to that. So take blankets to laundry and bakery. You could go again with the like, oh gosh, I find myself every Saturday responsible for like the snacks at soccer practice or football practice, as you might say, if you have a laundrette nearby.
Right.
Or again, the gas station fill up, and then, they have a mini mart with all these convenient foods, and you get a free this if you get a free that. You go to, and you do the responsible thing and get grocery pickup. All you have to do is open your trunk. See, I'm not even Catherine and Donald. I don't even go into a grocery market store.
Right.
But then, oh gosh, there's the fast food place right next door, and you're hungry, and you might as well just pick up the fast food.
Like Jeff Goldblum in Jurassic Park, he's like, life finds a way. Like, and it was like, I would be like, Donald finds a way.
Donald finds a way
to find treats.
That's what it says on the inside of our
that's right.
wedding bands.
If
Donald finds a way.
If there's a way to like eat like a treat, like something that wasn't on my plan, I would find a way to make it happen.
Yeah. Or like, none of these are funny, so don't be like, oh, she's about to zing us. No, it's just, I drive home from work and there's fast food on the way and I'm too hungry, so I just get it. It's convenient. Or like your foreign exchange student takes language classes at right next door to a candy store. Oh my gosh. Look, there's a candy store. I want to show them the candies of America.
Well, and these are like, the extravagant candies that like I can't not buy it. Yeah. I'm here at the store. I have to have it.
We actually, we have a weekly appointment that is right next to a candy store. So I'm trying to like foreign exchange student to
a very cool candy store that has all of these like odd, unusual candies from around the world.
Yeah. So anyway, whatever example you have of the finding yourself next to a thing, is what we're talking about here. So fill in the blank for yourself. But what Gretchen Rubin calls this, and we've done episodes on this.
Friend of the show.
Gretchen
Rubin, in our imagination.
She liked as many as one of my comments on one of her posts.
I mean, that basically makes her your best friend.
Yeah. So she calls this the planning to fail loophole. You know, again, all of those things that just happened. Oh, what luck. There's one right next door. Or, oh, goodness, there's cake. And isn't that fun for me while I'm doing the boring thing?
Longtime listeners will know that I always say, when you fail to plan, you don't have a plan.
Exactly. Yeah. So Gretchen Rubin, successful author, talks about how our brains want to make our lives easier. Or maybe I said this. I don't even know. But at this point, I can't tell the difference betwixt us.
You did just say it. So
betwixt the two of us.
I don't know which one of you said it first.
Me either. But our brains are really trying to help us. Like, in all honesty, our brains want our lives to be easy, man.
As Cyndi Lauper said in the classic song, brains just want to have fun.
Brains just want to have fun.
Brains.
I was trying to think of which song it was going through my head. But they want to make our lives easier. They want us to avoid pain, increase pleasure. Our brains like reward and dopamines, and gosh forbid, we want to be bored with duvets. What hell making will come of us if we are left with boredom in a laundrette?
That's right. Heaven forbid.
Yeah. But it wants to be a hero. And look, all of the synapses are firing in our mind palaces, and we choose the laundrette that's right next to the bakery. Like, what? This is so convenient. How could I not take advantage of the local economy and support this bakery in my mouth?
Yeah, no kidding. And you know, we've done some episodes about all those loopholes like that. Like, I need to support this local business loophole, so I have to eat all the food they sell.
Yeah,
is definitely a thing
for the economy, which I definitely that's an issue. And again, little candy store next to the place we go every week. It would be a shame to walk by, wouldn't it, without getting the thing? So the big question in the Daily Double of today is this good luck for our brains or just bad planning on our part? And so often we invoke loopholes.
What if I don't want to answer that question?
Pleading the fifth.
Yeah.
I think you're in the wrong court of law.
I think if you don't want to answer the question, you've probably answered the question for yourself.
Exactly. So we invoke loopholes that make it seem like fate drives our choices, thus making us victims of circumstance and victims of delicious calories.
Yeah.
But as we've said on previous episodes, we have a number, and I've got to have we're going to fill your life with peas now, which shouldn't be put in a washing machine.
I would like you to give peas a chance.
Give peas a chance. Splitting
I'm sorry.
peas.
These are the dad jokes I'm obligated to do.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also wonder if we've done an episode called Calorie Victim, like Fashion Victim. Because I like it.
We could
I need to write that
down. Put it on the roster. I always forget all of the things. But we did an episode called I'm a Carby Girl, where we talked about working carbies into our lives. No, carbs into our lives. And we, I was going to say invoked, but I don't know. That seems like incantations or like something like, I invoke the peas on this.
I declare bankruptcy.
Exactly. But we presented our listeners, including you, a number of ways that you can strategize success around potential problems. And so we said it was like 7 P's or 6 P's at the time.
And just to clarify, these are words that begin with the letter P.
Yeah. Split pea. Navy beans.
I don't know if we actually made that clear that's what this was.
Yeah. So we gave a list of words starting with the letter P to help you remember that you can be a champion of your choices instead of a victim of circumstance and a victim of bakeries. So we have taken the Carby Girl episode P's, which we're going to use many times in our lives in We Only Look Thin, to give you a structure to approach any problem, whether it is snacks on soccer Saturday, or duvets at the laundrette next to the bakery.
Yeah, we've realized that this is you can use these words that begin with letter P and the steps that they indicate and apply them to many, many situations. And this sort of, turning errands into an excuse for a jaunt for food is one of those situations.
Yep. So we've got a bunch of P's, and who knows, we might even come up with more as we're recording this, because it turns out there are many words that start with P.
Yeah, there's at least a couple dozen words in the English language that begin with the letter P.
Yeah. Okay. So the first is problem. Name the problem. Why is this cake a problem for you? Why are the snacks a problem for you? Why is the jaunt a problem for you?
Yeah, what problem are you trying to solve? Like when you say to yourself that this is a bad habit of turning a chore into a jaunt using food, like what is the actual problem?
Right. So is it that it just feels like I shouldn't do that? Oh, this is a bad idea because we get trapped in those shoulds or shouldn'ts? Is it a problem because you don't track the cake or the snack? Do you not track the rest of the day? Do you buy more than you need? Is it not a reasonable portion? Do you hide it from your roommate, or do you eat secretly in your car? This used to be an issue with me, of buying extras of bagels and then just secret eating them in my car.
Yeah, is it the size of the cake? Like, are you buying like an entire, cake meant for, several people, and you're eating the whole thing like in the laundrette as you're waiting for duvets to dry?
Right. Is it that it's throwing you off not only for today, but tomorrow, and then the rest of the week, and then I'll start next month, because that used to happen to me all the time. And then the biggest question is, again, because the example of like, okay, well, you go to the laundromat once every 6 weeks, 10 weeks, whatever year, whatever your frequency is, or do you do this with every single errand? Is it not just the cake, but it's also going to the grocery store and driving home and
because Katie says this is just one example. So maybe the problem is that she's doing this, 3, 4, 5 times a week.
Right. And something that I see often is people saying, well, that I don't have that problem, or, well, it's only the cake once every 6 weeks. What's the big deal? But it is the collection of all of the errands and all of the habits together that make up the bigger problem, which is not having a calorie deficit or not maintaining your calories. So that's the big thing. It's not like one piece of cake at 300 calories isn't an issue, but it's the frequency and the number of times a week we make those excuses that might be the problem. So again, the first one is name the problem. And the next one, Donald, why don't you take it?
Well, it's to pause,
Pause.
Really reflect upon what you're doing and be really honest with yourself. And I say this a lot on this show, but I think it bears repeating all the time because it was a real keystone for me in hitting my weight goal, was be really honest with yourself about what you're doing. Are you intentionally setting yourself up for an excuse to eat treats that are not really in your plan? And then ask yourself, is food your number one fun? Is that something that you are, is that the first thing that pops into your head when you think about, well, how can I make something more fun or less boring? Like, is food your go-to? And that's been my problem for most of my life. When somebody asks me to do something interesting or exciting, I oftentimes, the first thing I think is, how can I steer this activity towards it being an excuse to eat food? And then really ask yourself, is there anything else you can do instead that would make it more fun?
Yeah, so this is where I came up with another P, which is, how can I make this a party? Woo, 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 woo.
Exactly.
How can you, if you're super bored at the laundrette, how can you actually make it a better experience for you? We do the same thing with our blankets and throws and that kind of thing, whatever, or your duvets if you're posh and I have duvets. We have duvets. But how can you make it, how can you change your habit? Because that's all all it is you're there and it's convenient and you make it happen. But what can you do to make the laundrette experience more of a party for yourself?
Well, we know one thing about my wife is that she likes to party.
Oh, as long as the party ends at 8:30 p.m. and it's not far, and that would be great. But how can you change your event so that, for me, like we put in the laundry and then go for a walk if it is a good day in a nice neighborhood? We have a little riverfront area. Riverfront, it's like cement, but it's fine. We call it a river. It's good. But go for a walk while you are waiting for your laundry to.
I think the Los Angeles River fits the definition of a river. It may not be the majestic like Mississippi or something or the Amazon, but I think it's it's very pretty river. It's man-made, but they have water
ducks.
Flows.
Yeah, and there's waterfowl, so it's good.
There are ducks, yes.
But so if you need to stay on premises, is this a chance for you to do something fun and indulgent, like maybe do your nails or read a juicy, steamy novel, a spicy novel, as the kids say?
Oh, yeah.
Go for a walk, call a friend.
Spicy novel for me is about hot sauce.
yeah, that is true. Play word games or do a coloring book thing. And again, and not everything has to be a party every second. Do something interesting on your phone, learn a language, take up a new hobby, whittle or scrimshaw at the laundry.
Or
mat.
bring things that would allow you to, plan a vacation or a family trip, even if it's not like a reality, I like to imagine that I will have some future trip. We will oftentimes watch these videos about planning for a trip to Walt Disney World when we have no intention of actually going to Walt Disney World. And it really is fun to sort of imagine, like, hey, which restaurants would you want to go to? Or look, I made it about food. I didn't even think about it. I just went straight to the restaurant. See, that's what I'm talking about. Which attractions would be your must-dos?
Yeah, the churro attraction.
Exactly.
But and also that time is a good time to do things that you the opposite of a party, which is maybe just my day-to-day life, is do a chore that you never seem to find time for. So for me, when we take a short flight, I actually use that as an opportunity to go into my pictures or my photos. That doesn't sound like a P. Photo is a P
Photo
word.
is a P, yeah.
And I actually go
a lot of people don't know that.
And delete or organize photos. So doing something that is like, when am I ever going to have time to unsubscribe from all of the emails that I get?
Yeah.
That is a great time if you're sitting stationary to do something like that. When I get gasoline at Costco and I'm waiting in line, I actually write things that I'm grateful for that day in my notes app. There, I said it. So we've partied, we've not partied, which there's a P in there somewhere. So now we will move on to the next.
And that is to prioritize. So really ask yourself, is what you're having a 10 out of 10? And if it's not, if it's just sort of generic, then maybe you save it for, save your treat for when it really is a 10 out of 10 for you.
Yeah. Or if it is like the best cake you've ever had, is it super classy to eat it while you're sitting next to a rando folding underwear at the laundrette? Or is it maybe classier to save it for another time or really savor it for...
Yeah, so that you can truly enjoy it to its fullest when you do have it.
Exactly. So, and if it is a 10 out of 10, so that's great. So how are you going to do that? So is it the portion size that is the problem? Could you have a smaller piece or maybe have something else that is a smaller portion? That would be good, like something else that fits your budget. Does that make sense?
Yeah, you have a certain amount of calories for the day, and maybe instead of having dessert after dinner, this is your treat. Or maybe you have more than one treat in a day, but maybe this is your treat for the day. But you come up with something smaller that's only a couple of hundred calories instead of like 500.
The whole cake. Oh, but it's
calories,
on sale. Yeah. I never go to that the sale section of the bakery area.
Right.
the leftovers.
Yeah, the day old.
Yeah. So another thing that you can do if you're going to get the cake anyway and eat it at the laundrette is you can pump up the volume. Pump up the volume.
Hey, we almost did that pretty good.
We almost did. Yeah. We almost did. I sort of did a like, whoa, like levitating. Not that you can even see me going, whoa. But if you know, like, hey, I'm going to have it. It's going to be really good. I'm going to stick to one slice instead of getting 3 slices or 5 slices or whatever. And I am going to bring some freshly washed berries with me to enjoy along with the cake so that I am pumping up the volume. I'm more satisfied. Maybe you're having the berries afterwards, so you lose some of that hyper palatability, that like urge to have more because daytime sugar is tough. So pump up the volume. Donald was going to say with his normal things like relishes and what do you put? Mushrooms and onions.
I put relish, mushrooms, and onions on my cake, like whatever. Yeah. No, it wouldn't be cake. But,
but you know what I mean. So this is all inclusive.
Yeah, depending on what the treat is, you bring something to pump up the volume.
Exactly. And the other option as part of that, it sort of all ties together, is pre-track. Could you, if you know you're going to have it and it's kind of like, oh, but it always leads me to overeat later or it ruins my tomorrow. If you know that you're going to have the cake and you're going to do it consciously instead of unconsciously, or not unconsciously, subconsciously.
Look, I could find a way to eat cake unconsciously. Let me just tell you about that.
Okay, so if you know that there is the cake there, you pre-track your day. You're like, it's going to happen. I'm going to have the cake. It's 400 calories. I'm going to have the berries with it, but I'm also going to plan on having salad for dinner. I'm going to pre-track that. And guess what? Tomorrow is going to be hard. So I'm going to pre-track tomorrow and load it up with volume and have lots of protein. Set yourself up for success by pre-tracking and pre-planning your evening and your tomorrow.
Yeah. And then I think, one of the main P's in our P words is to plan.
Yep.
And this one is hard for a lot of people, but if you actually stop and plan ahead, you can really save yourself a lot of regret later on. If you plan to, not go hungry, in the example I gave ahead of time, eat before you start running this. Bring food with you that's on your plan. Actually pack yourself some snacks that you can have that are on your plan. Pre-track those too, so that you have them. You don't have to even stop and do that. You can just eat them on the fly. And we've already gone through this is a repeat, but is there something that you've, if you're doing a chore that's just boring, is there something that you've wanted to do that this would give you time for, and plan all those things that we already talked about, the knitting, the reading, the phone games, the planning, the vacations, all of those things, and really think ahead about what you can do to make this fun that doesn't involve food.
Right. And if it is that every day of the week, there's another surprise opportunity for a snack or a treat, is and this isn't a P, but you're going to get what you get. Like, plan to take a different route. If you know that going this way or stopping at the grocery store, and if you exit out of there, then you're right next to the Bob Evans or the Hungry Jack's or whatever it is, like, make sure that you take the different exit. So you're not in the mood, or you don't even have the opportunity because you are exiting a different way so that you're not driving right by it, or, oh, look, what a convenient thing it is. Make it hard to do the things that don't serve you. So again, if it's like, this cake is ruining my life, go to a different laundromat. Like, if that plan just keeps leading to sabotage, then that's an opportunity to plan a different route. Also, if you're going to have it as part of the plan, have it at another time. If it's really lovely and delicious and you really want it, plan to have it for dessert instead of while sitting in the laundromat. If you really enjoy it, plan to have cake with a friend over coffee on another day instead of randomly eating it like next to the lint trap. Yeah, which I'm assuming you might be doing.
Yeah, lint trap. I mean, look, no shame on lint traps, but
they're very important because they could
very
empty them because they cause fires.
Exactly, and if frequency is the problem, we have talked a lot about pairing it, pair the treat with something that's less frequent. And, maybe you're washing your duvet covers, once a week. And so that's part of the problem. But we had an episode called Pairing is Caring, which was all about this. And we've talked about it on other episodes, but tie the treat to a much less frequent chore, like getting your oil changed in your car or getting a haircut or something like that, so that you're only having it, much less often.
Right. And the issue with the pairing is if every day you're pairing something with something, then it's not cutting down those calories. So maybe pairing can be a good thing. Oh, you know what? It's good luck. I always get cake when I wash my duvet. That gives me an opportunity to have something that I like in a controlled situation. But again, if it's also on Saturday and also something else on Sunday and every day is a treat, then that is not the way to pair it. But making sure that you are doing this in a controlled way and seeing that like these calories actually have an impact. I won't go into super math on this. But I don't know. Now there's something called super math.
Yeah, there's math and super math.
Yeah, there's new math, but super math is like they haven't even.
That was a Nietzsche book, right?
Yeah, they haven't. Yeah, that was very funny.
Thank
I like
you.
that. I got
philosophy joke. Yeah,
I got that. I liked it. It was
Thanks.
elevated. I enjoyed it.
Oh,
I enjoyed it. No, never mind. I'll workshop it. It's fine.
Yeah,
but that really making it, we got so far off track that I don't even remember the point I was going to make because I got so into Nietzsche.
Yeah.
What was the next thing I was going to say?
Math.
Oh, right. There's math. So if every single day, this is a bummer, so watch out, buckle up if you're seated.
If you're driving, you should already be buckled up. Yeah.
Because seriously. So an extra 100 calories a day, if you do the 3,500 calories equals 1 pound, an extra 100 calories a day can add up to 10 pounds a year, approximately. 200 calories a day, that's 20 pounds. 300 calories a day, that's 30 pounds. That could be in deficit or in overages, depending on how many extra calories you're having. So if every single day is a magical, wonderful experience, like some people would have you believe, then if you fill those with calories, then suddenly you'll find yourself up on the scale, which is no fun.
No fun at all. But something that really does work for me and may not work for all is our next P word, which is policy. Create a policy for yourself. And I find that when I verbalize to myself an actual policy, like I don't eat unplanned treats when I go to the laundromat. Like if I make that a policy, I don't eat unplanned treats when I'm out, grocery shopping. I only have cake from that cake store next to the laundromat on birthdays, or whatever the policy is that makes sense to you. I only have a treat when it fits into my calorie goal for the day, unless I plan way ahead for it, like something like that. That really helps me to keep myself in check, because if I have a policy, then I can't surprise myself, or it makes it much harder for me to surprise myself without realizing that I'm actually, that I'm doing something that I don't want to do.
Yeah. And part of that ties into identity, how you see yourself going through the world. Are you a victim of circumstance, or are you someone who prioritizes all of these different P words to set yourself up for success? Because policies are not punishments. They are ways that you talk to yourself about what is actually important to you. So like the idea of I don't eat sugar in the daytime, that's not a punishment. It's not, I can't have sugar, like, oh, my life is terrible. I can't even, have, obviously I can't ever wash my duvet because then I'm just going to have cake. Like,
right.
I'm just, whatever. Is not that anyone would talk that way except for me. So this is me projecting. But it's I don't have sweets during the day because I know that it makes me feel groggy and it leads to overeating or whatever. And so I save it for special occasions. And so I save it to enjoy with friends over dinner, like on a special day. those policies are there, again, not as punishments, but as ways to really embrace our identities as people who care about the choices that we make. So again, with policies, it's about what you don't do, not what you can't do. And in the end of all of this, try one of these options as you're, creating your plan for yourself. Don't try to do every single one of these. Every single time you leave your house, you've got to go through a half hour of P's before you.
You've got to pull out your dictionary, turn it to P, go through, figure out.
Yeah. Try one of these. And if it doesn't resonate with you, pivot. Try something else.
Oh, another P word.
That is
pivot.
The final P is pivot. Try a different one. So again, we'll go through these because this is all about creating your identity as a person who doesn't act passively in their lives, but takes the front seat. Whether it's, any day of the week, any place, any temptation that we have, our brains want us to be happy. But unfortunately, a lot of times it thinks about in the moment, not in the long term. We want to quiet those, those instincts that we have for immediate pleasure, but thinking long term means using a different part of your brain. And all of those include the P's that we have talked about today.
Yes.
Again, what is the actual problem with what you're doing? Do you need to focus on pairing or portion or pumping up the volume? Pre-tracking, prioritizing, having policies, or pivoting? What do you need in terms of being successful? What feels like the easiest thing that you could start with? Perhaps it's just that pumping up the volume. Perhaps it is pre-planning and pre-tracking, or do something more advanced, like really focus on your identity as I am a healthy person who prioritizes pre-planning my snacks, setting myself up for success by having it later in the day. What makes sense to you right now? Because we live in dynamic worlds where temptations are being thrown into traffic at us, making it more convenient for us to do things that aren't in our long-term interests. And for us, these strategies really do help us keep things that we enjoy in our lives in a way that keeps us on track and away from feeling like victims of the world around us.
Thank you so much for planning and prioritizing listening to this episode of the show. We are truly grateful for you. All of our episodes are available wherever you found this one. We are available on all the major podcast platforms, and all of our episodes, we are almost up to 300 of them, are all available anytime on our website at weonlylookthin.com.
Yep, and if you are at weonlylookthin.com, you can click on that link for Join Our Support Group to find out more about Wolt Place. We Only Look Thin Place is our Facebook-based accountability group for women. We are not a weight loss plan, but we are a place for support, accountability, and really working through issues together in a private space that's really safe. It's not, it's out of the prying eyes of your public Facebook page. We're all going through similar things, even though we might not be on the same plan. We have people doing intuitive eating, Weight Watchers, calorie tracking, intermittent fasting. It's all welcome there, but our issues are often the same, whether our plans differ or not. We have 2 subscription options, a monthly subscription with a 3-day complimentary trial and a 3-month subscription with a 7-day complimentary trial to see if Wolt Place is right for you.
So please check it out. I'm very proud of the group, and you have helped a lot of people, and you do wonderful work there.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Also, if you'd like to interact with us in other ways, you can find us on Instagram and Facebook at We Only Look Thin, or you could also send us an email to weonlylookthin@gmail.com. We appreciate compliments. We like episode suggestions. We've turned a lot of listener emails into episodes of this show. And, I mentioned Facebook. We took all of these questions from Facebook. This particular question from Facebook and turned it into an episode of the show. So if you have an episode you think you'd like us to do or something to focus on, or if you just have a question, we get a lot of questions about rebounders. On the
Recently.
On the email. So those are mini trampolines that we use. We can help you point you to the ones that we use. So you can reach us once again to weonlylookthin@gmail.com.
Yep. Jenny, listener of the show, asked about rebounders. And then she asked an actual other question that we just got today that we might save for another episode.
Oh, really?
So
I haven't read that one yet.
Thank you, Jenny, for that. And if you have an extra couple of minutes and can head over to Apple Podcast, as we record this, we have 599 5-star reviews on...
Do we really?
Yeah, 599. Can we get to 600?
Oh, man.
Can we roll over? Our 300th episode is coming up.
Can you be the 600th listener to give us a 5-star review?
Wouldn't that be wonderful? Leave us a rating and a review. Not only does it help us know that what we're doing is making a difference, like us personally, we read all of the reviews. We so appreciate it, but also it helps with all of the robots on the internet who categorize our program and
you wouldn't think that robots would need to worry about their weight loss and fitness, but they're very concerned about promoting it for humans.
Yeah, and they use all of their zeros and ones to help position us, another P, on iApple, iPodcast, iPod.
Apple Podcasts,
like I said.
The more ratings and reviews we have, the easier it is for people to find our show. It comes up higher in search results.
There we go. Thank you very much for podsplaining that. I couldn't remember. So it's fine.
Why do I feel terrible
You're
now?
Fine. But what else can people do, Donald?
People could also talk about the show. And by talk about, that could be actually talking about it with somebody face to face. Or if you're in an online group and it comes up and, it makes sense that somebody could use an episode of our show, might enjoy it. A Discord server, a Reddit group, a Facebook group, something like that. Or if you're just talking to somebody and you think they might get something out of the show, if you could just tell somebody about us, we would be grateful.
We sure would. So whether you're reading a spicy romance novel or a spicy spice sauce novel romance at the laundrette, just remember that Donald, Katie, and I are an inspiration.
The information that you hear on this podcast is for informational purposes only. The hosts are not medical professionals. You should always consult with your doctor, nurse, or other certified health professional before beginning any diet or fitness program.